Hey friends, I'm Hannah Castiaux, and I'm a wife and mom who is a leader in the local church, and I'm passionate about living on mission and helping others do the same. This podcast is for you if you desire to understand your purpose, are ready to break free from shame, and are yearning for a deeper connection with God. I'm so glad you joined us as we explore where God is in our very lives and what He's doing. Come hang out and let's uncover the beauty of God's glory in your story together. Here we go.
Welcome back to the God's Glory in Your Story podcast. Today on the podcast, I have my friend Janelle Mosley. We're going to be talking all about serving in ministry together and what it's like to live out your purpose. So, welcome, Janelle.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited you're here.
I've been waiting for this day.
Me too.
When I saw you were coming out of the podcast, I was like, oh, I really hope I get to be a guest on this podcast.
Of course.
Here we are.
I'm so excited. Okay, do you want to give them a quick little bio about yourself?
I am 30 years old. I am married to my wonderful husband, Trent, and we've been married for a little over 7 years. And we have our fur baby child, Oreo. He's our 2-year-old poodle, and we just are obsessed with him. Let's see. I grew up in Chicago, and I've been a youth pastor, and I've been in I've been a youth pastor for about 4.5 years now, and then I've been in full-time ministry, either 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I got to make that 10-year mark.
What's like a fun fact about you?
I'm not that interesting.
I feel like you're a good foodie person though. Like you always have the best recipes, or like the cute aesthetic places that have good food to eat at.
Yeah, I would say my number one hobby is like all things foodie. Like I love trying unique recipes at home. Like it's really fun for me. Unfortunately, I married a picky husband, so usually it's just me that's eating them. But yeah, I love to find very unique restaurants wherever I'm traveling or where like just in the area. And like the more obscure the menu is, the better. Like I like that kind of weird stuff. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that very much from our trip to Dallas, because you like knew all the places we were going to go eat, and I was just like, yep, I'm in, let's go. And it was awesome.
I'm also kind of bossy, so that's probably why I just like to be in charge.
Someone else had figured it out, and I was just like along for the ride.
Sure.
Because I like good food, so I was always excited when we went to places with good food.
Yes, I love just like good, fresh, like anything that's farm to table.
Yes. Do you want to share quickly with us just like a real quick testimony and then kind of how you got into the ministry scene?
Yeah. So I grew up in church. My parents are really strong believers, and so I grew up going to church every week. But I would say as an Enneagram 7, I was always looking for like thrills in life, which led me to like some rebellious phases in my life. Like I was definitely my parents' problem child. Just people who know me now like can't picture that, but I was like a wild child. So I like a rule breaker. I was grounded all the time, and so I was just looking for fulfillment in all the wrong places, like boys, and just like having people like me in high school and middle school especially, and just like really got in with the wrong crowd. And so there was a point where my parents just saw me going down such a bad path that they put the hammer down. And there was one time where I got caught sneaking out one night. And I was grounded to no end. Like I was grounded from everything, and my parents really made me they were really picky about like who I could spend time with after that, which was really smart on their part. And so I was grounded from everything, and so for like a whole summer. And so that during that time, the Lord really captured my heart, because I would like read the Bible because I had nothing else to do. I was grounded from TV. Yeah. I was grounded from all the electronics, so I was like bored, and I started reading the Bible because I was bored. And then I don't know, there was this season of being like still, and like that's when I was able to notice God. And I never really felt like I fit in at youth group because people saw me as like the bad influence kid. And so I remember then I would go to summer camp at Camp Timberley, and the Lord just changed my life there so much. And I made so many friends that like didn't know my past. And so I just felt like a fresh start. Yeah. And so, but I did remember feeling kind of like an outcast at church. And so that's really what prompted me to want to go into youth ministry. Yeah. I wanted all kids to feel accepted at church, no matter if they were well behaved or not. Yeah. Or like where they were at in their faith. And so I just really felt passionate about kids who were seeking, or students who were seeking fulfillment in other areas other than Jesus. Like that's the root of where my passion came. So yeah, that's kind of like a overview of my testimony.
Yeah, I have a similar testimony. I was raised in a Christian home, but I definitely wanted to be liked by people, and I went through a really hard season in middle school where I lost like almost every single one of my friends, which was really incredibly hard for me. And I remember like what came out of that was like I was just like seeking approval from people for a very long time, specifically guys. Like I just wanted someone to notice me and love me for who I was, and I felt like I was always having to like live for other people, which was so hard for me. And so, but then the Lord got a hold of my heart when I was at a winter retreat, and I like in a sense rededicated my life back to him, and I was a different person after that, and then went off to YWAM later, and then really started owning my faith for myself versus just like what my parents had taught me. And now the rest is history.
Yeah. Was that a 7-winter retreat?
It was. Yeah, up at Silver Birch. So it's pretty special of like, but I think it's sad because like majority of people that I talk to that are Christians, like that is their story of like, we didn't feel like enough at a certain point for people, and that's so hard.
And you know what's crazy? I don't know if you had this in your story at all, but I think one of the biggest, there was like one girl in my youth group, the youth group that I didn't feel like I fit in. There was one girl that was like, I'm going to be your friend, even though you have a bad reputation. And like, I'm going to still like invite you to things, and and she was like so solid in her faith, and she wasn't like scared of me. She wasn't like afraid of me or to be around me or spend time with me. And it was like those few people that I was like, okay, like, wow, like this is so incredible. Like I was experiencing the love of Jesus firsthand. I was like, I want to make other people feel this way. Yeah. So I don't know if you ever had people like that ministered to you.
I feel like that's where I found my friends, was in youth group. And because some of them all went to different schools than I went to, so it was like that fresh start, which is how Jesus is, right? He's always like, hey, I'm going to give you a fresh start. Like his mercies new every morning. And so that was like a way I saw him through that verse in like my middle school, high school years, was by going, like youth group was the safe place for me, where like it used to be that school was the safe place for me. And then just my whole world kind of imploded, and that was like where I would go. Like I was always at church. Like I still always am at church, but I was like the youth group kid who was on the student leader team and came early, and I would stay late to tear down, and I was always at life group, and like I was just always there. And so it was just like, yep, this is where I want to be. It's just funny because now I'm still there all the time anyways.
Yes, you are. I can attest to that. Yep.
Yeah, it's good though. So we have the joy of serving alongside each other in ministry. So do you want to share a little bit of like how you decided to become a pastor, if you felt like God called you to it? Just let us see a little bit of that.
Yeah, so that's a long story, so I'll try to make it short. Okay, so I'll start by repeating what I said earlier. So I knew at one point I was called into youth ministry. I didn't know, and at first I thought that looked more in like an assistant role. Because I did grow up in a church that had Baptist roots, and so it was never really like said specifically, but I always had the underlying belief that like I'm a woman, so I shouldn't be a pastor. And I know there's so many like different interpretations of that in the scripture, and that's fine. I know that people, no matter where you land on that scale, like everyone's just trying to honor scripture the best they can. So I'll start with that. But so I remember in college when I was in the youth ministry program, I was applying for jobs my senior year, and I was looking for those like assistant youth director type jobs, and it was really hard to find. It was hard to find a full-time position because usually it's like a part-time job. And so I was talking to one of my youth ministry professors, and he was like, Janelle, why don't you just be the person, like the main youth pastor? I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to. Like, I don't think is that allowed? I don't know. So, but he had really felt like my giftings lined up with that kind of a role. So I kind of just ignored that. And then I did end up finding like an assistant full-time position in a church in St. Louis, which was great. And it was a really great, like, honestly, if I could give any advice for someone going into youth ministry, if you can find an assistant role like that where you're going to be trained up before you get thrown into like a lead youth pastor position, like that's definitely the way to go. Because a lot of times you just get thrown in there and you're still so young, so you just have so much to learn. But so I worked there for 3 years, and then my husband and I were wanting to move back to Wisconsin. And so at first my husband was actually looking for youth pastor jobs because I wanted to support him doing that. And then we found the job at Northbrook, and it had the title pastor on it, which I still wasn't sure where I landed on that topic, but it wasn't like, for me, it wasn't like a salvation issue. So it wasn't like, okay, like this is like a secondary, like theological decision for me. But I looked at the job description, and everything lined up with exactly how God had wired me and gifted me. And so I didn't really care what the title was. Right. I was like, I don't really care if people call me pastor or not. All I know is that this is the work that God is calling me to do. And so I'm going to step into, and I'm going to obey that and step into obedience and step into this role. And so, yeah, I kind of accidentally fell into it. I wasn't like looking to be a pastor, but I just found this job that fit me so well. And so it ended up being a pastoral role. And the more that I've grown in my faith and my knowledge of that specific topic, I feel very confident that God has called me to be a pastor at Northbrook.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love serving alongside you, and I think like you hit the nail on the head that so many people, they have like a hard time with labels. Like our world is so weird of like, here's like this definition that's just like, but here's like the description of what you do, but like we label everything, and then it can be like really hard where you're like, we're all called to go and tell and preach the gospel and disciple people and to love the Lord with our life. And then that's what comes out in whatever facet, in every sphere of life, like every kind of job you can do it. And so it's just like yours is in a ministry setting, but you get to use your gifts and you get to like come alongside all these students to help them shape their worldview of the Lord. And that's awesome. But I think it's hard because we look at labels a lot of the time, and then we kind of put ourselves in a box of like how it has to look or what it needs to be, or people have different opinions of what that looks like. But you know, if God's called you to do something, and like obedience is so important. And so I'm really proud of you for doing that, even though you weren't necessarily looking for that.
Yeah, it was definitely just, God just made it so clear, and he opened the doors. Another crazy thing I'll say, like God was all over that decision. Like God literally, I don't know how to say this, but I feel like God just kind of put me into being a pastor because when we were interviewing for this job, or Trent was originally looking for positions as in a youth pastor role. And I said to myself, I said, I will not take this job unless my husband is 100% on board with this decision. And I didn't tell him that. I didn't say anything. I just like told God, I was like, just like, you do it and you work it out and you let me know what he thinks. And then after the interview process, he was like, this is 100% what we need to do. And it was just like God's true confirmation. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you like invited him into that decision with you, because that can be like really hard, because you guys had to like literally move across the country. Like it was a big decision for you guys.
Yeah, and the best part about working at Northbrook is that, or at 7, is that we do it together. We truly are a team, and we complement each other so well. So it felt like we were almost doing it together rather than like, I mean, I'm technically the one that's paid on staff, but it's really like we do it together.
Yeah. You guys are definitely a team, and I love that. I love that I get to serve with you. I think it's really fun. What are some things that you've learned in the process of being a pastor, being a director, of like, there's so many different personality types of people that you serve alongside. I'm sure there's like extremely hard moments, and there's also some extremely joyful moments, like when you see students like accept the Lord for the first time, or serving with your friends. So what are some things you've learned along the way that have like shaped you or inspired you or like helped you in perspective, healthy conflict, all that kind of stuff?
I think I have to say the biggest person that has helped me learn conflict is Pastor John Malstead. He's so good at it, and I would not be the pastor I am today without his guidance and coaching. He truly has helped me try to see people the way that Jesus does in conflict and also in joyful moments. But the biggest thing that I've learned specifically from him in conflict is to approach things with curiosity. Yeah. Because I'm the kind of person that, and this is probably trauma that I need to work through, but I jump to thinking the worst of people sometimes, because it's probably like from past like relational conflict and like stuff like that. But I've learned to not assume things about people and make stories in my head about what they meant or why they did it, and to truly approach things with curiosity, and also to give people the benefit of the doubt, because then I feel like when you do that, people often will, specifically students, they'll actually behave better if you treat them that way.
That's good. See, that's funny though, because I'm the opposite, where I assume the best in people. And then people have to tell me that I need to like sometimes accept that people might actually be mean and hurt my feelings on purpose. And so I'm always the person who's like, I'm just going to give them benefit of the doubt, but it's actually was kind of me hiding from having any conflict conversations, because I was like, I'll just assume it's fine. But I also had to still within that stop the story in my head, because I would look at it from like a certain perspective, and I had to just say, this is what happened in this moment, and that's it. So I've had to like take a step back, which is funny, because people are like, Hannah, I actually want to challenge you to not think that way, but yours is the opposite. Yeah, it's funny.
It's kind of, wow, we balance each other out perfectly. It's like kind of the same but different at the same time. Yeah. Problem though is that like I will still make the negative story up in my head, but then I still won't address it because I'm too scared, because I need to get better at it.
And I think like I grew up that like conflict was a negative thing.
Yes.
But I remember now like hearing in like an English class, they like talked about conflict, and they talked about it in like a positive way sometimes too. Like there was all the different types of conflict. And I think I need to like remember that is like you can have healthy conflict and it not affect who you are as a person or the other person. Like it doesn't change who you are, your identity. And I just think that there are times where like we watch all these movies, and every time a boyfriend and girlfriend get in a fight, we're like, oh, they're gonna break up, and so like how many times were you like maybe in like a romantic relationship and you get in an argument and you're like, this is it, they're gonna leave me, they're not gonna love me. And then I remember like dating Steve, and I was like shocked because like we'd have an argument about something, and then I was like, wait, you're not breaking up with me? Because like that was the story in my head, was like, oh, if there's conflict, it means that this has to be completely cut off, that there's no hope.
Okay, that is such a good word. And like honestly, that is the reason why I get so like physically anxious to enter into conflict with people, is because I'm afraid they're gonna leave, and like I'm scared to lose them.
Yeah, I just got chills. Like actually, is it the air conditioning? I don't know, but yeah, it's so true.
And Jenny Allen talked about in her book, like conflict is actually necessary to strengthen your relationship, because if there's no conflict, then it's not like a real relationship.
like you will have conflict in your friendships, your romantic relationships, with your parents, with your kids, whoever. And it's just a part of life, and it's learning how to navigate it well. What is that like, serving with people that you know personally?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, it's so fun. It's like my favorite thing ever. It's a great way for me to get other people to start serving in our youth ministry, because I always get to brag about how close of a community we are. And, you know, I truly love our team, and some of the people on our team are like my closest friends. I will say it's always tricky as a pastor when you become friends with the people that you're leading, because you want to be mindful and just intentional with remembering that you're still in a pastoral role, but like there also is that time where there are people that become more of like your inner circle people, but it's hard to know when that shift happens. So there's like, I was talking to our senior pastor Mike about this, because there's a elder on the elder board that's one of his best friends, and I was like, how do you know, like, when is that point where you can truly be unfiltered with them? Like, okay, these aren't just my leaders, like these are my long-term like best friends. And he said it just takes a really long time. It took like 10 years for them to like get to that point where they just knew, okay, these are our safe people. But it is so hard to discern when you get to that level in your relationship with them, because you just, as a leader, you're always being watched. And so you really have to be wise about, you know, who you let into your inner circle. And as a pastor, it's just like, I don't know, you want to make sure you have really solid quality people around you, because you are pouring into people all the time relationally. And so you want to make sure you have people that are going to cheer you on and going to leave space for your imperfections, but still not see you as less or of a leader because of it, but actually see you like as a human doing what God's called you to do.
Yeah, like they have your back.
Yeah.
Like they help cover you in a sense. That's so good. I'm sure there are challenges, because I feel like the world always puts like pastors up on a pedestal, whether we want to say that we do or don't. And so it can be really hard to be like, how come my job is like a microscope on me of like anything that could be different or like said slightly different or whatever. It's like, okay, like I'm still also on a faith journey. Like, yes, I'm leading, but I'm still also learning and growing. And I've found, even with like writing a book, that the book that comes out, there's in like 10 years, I might even disagree with something that I write. And I have to be okay with that, to go, you know what? I don't have to feel shame about it, because that means I grew. And like I was writing it from like a place of victory still in my life, but that's part of maturing too, right? Like there's times where we go, you know, I used to think this, and now I think something differently. And it's okay. Like I can also hold space that's where I was at in life when I believed that to my core. And so, yeah, I have a lot of respect for pastors, because I feel like they always get like looked at in a very different way than other types of jobs. And unfortunately, like a lot of people like don't always hold grace for pastors too, or they don't actually know their story, what they're walking through, and things like that. And you're like, that's not fair. You know, like someone's not doing that to you. And so I think you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that honestly has been the biggest lesson that I've been learning in the last couple of years. I've been going through actually some faith struggles myself, which is allowed, even though you're a pastor. You know, I think people think if you're a pastor, you're not allowed to like wrestle with your faith.
Yes.
But my mentor told me, she said, if you keep putting the pressure on yourself to portray this image that you don't struggle, or to not be open about your struggles, like you are going to be so drained by your job. And so she recently challenged me to lead with vulnerability more. So, but it's hard to find, okay, what is an appropriate amount of vulnerability, you know, as a leader. You know, I'm not gonna, like, if you and I get together, I'm not gonna vent to, like, I'm gonna vent to you differently because you're in my inner circle. But, like, you know, and that's not just because I'm a pastor. Like, that's the same with everybody. Like, you're not going to let every single person in your life into the depths of, like, your soul. Like, you know, it's what, like, Jesus had his disciples and he had his 3 closest friends, and, like, the one that he was the closest to. So, like, he also, you know, knew boundaries of, like, I could keep going on this for a long time. But
it's great. Important, though. No, it's good. It's we have to be careful the people that we allow into our inner circle, and it doesn't mean that we don't love other people or that, you know, we are trying to be cliquey, but I also think it's okay that, like, God, like Jesus himself showed he had, like, the people he was closest with, and having those people know the depths of your soul, that they can call you out, they can call you up, they can tell you, like, their highest of highs and their lowest of lows, and we, like, make space for that. So it's so important.
Yeah. I will say one other thing that my counselor taught me, like, 2 years ago. I used to be, like, the kind of person that would be super vulnerable right away, really quickly, because I knew that it would create this connection really quickly, but then it's not wise to do that with everybody. So she taught me how, she's like, imagine you have a house. There's people you let on your front lawn. There's people you invite into your living room, into your kitchen, and there's people you invite upstairs into your bedroom. That sounds dirty. It's not meant to be dirty. But you know what I mean? Like, the most personal spaces in your home, like, it's not, you don't bring everyone into your closet or your bedroom or your bathroom. Like, some people are meant to stay on your front porch, and some people are meant to stay in your living room. So I thought that was really good. Yeah.
I love it. So I think a lot of us at some point in our life have been, what is my calling? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to do? But I feel like we've really overcomplicated it. And I'm like, if you want to figure out what you're supposed to do with your life, we should start serving. Because I feel like when we start serving, we realize where we're gifted and where we're not. Like, it's very evident. Like, there's times where, like, I volunteered in other areas, which it doesn't all have to be at a church when I say serve. It can be anywhere. But that's my favorite place to serve. But I feel like when you go in at different places, you realize the gifts God's given you. And I think a lot of times we're looking for, like, our name in the Bible with a timestamp, or, like, God to put a picture in the sky to tell us what to do. And I think he definitely speaks to us and will lead us and show us, like, what we're supposed to do with our life. But I think sometimes we're like, oh, God, I don't know if, like, if you gave me a gift of singing, I don't know, am I supposed to be on the worship team? And we make it this whole thing, and God's like, hey, I also, like, let you make choices, and I gave you good gifts, so why don't you just start using them for his glory to bless other people so that they can also experience the Lord? But we make it this, like, oh, I need this big monumental moment to know. And he's like, I just want you to, like, get in the game. And so what would you say to somebody who's, like, wanting to serve, but they have felt this pressure of, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, I would say just show up. Like, just exactly what you were saying. Just show up, try different things. If you can find something that lights your heart on fire, like something that where you get excited before, during, and after. That, I mean, and that's not to say, like, what God calls us to isn't going to have things that we don't like about it. Like, that's just part of life. So, but yeah, I don't know. You kind of said it all really well. Like, I think that just showing up and really serving the Lord in any way that you can, especially in the season that you're in. Like, I think everybody has different availability in different seasons. So if you are in a season where you don't have kids, like, really take advantage of that. So show up and serve in a way where you can in that season in the capacity you have. If you're a mom with 3 kids, like, you know, serve in a way that it lines up with your season of life, I feel like. And so, like, for you, that's at home a lot, which is awesome. And so I think we also, like, because we put ourselves in a box of, like, okay, I need to find my calling, and that's my calling for life. Well, it can change too. So, like, what you thought you were gonna do when you were younger could change as you get older too. So just, like, really be open to the idea that, like, God can let you choose, and he can let you change your mind too.
That's so good.
We both have a passion for ministry, and we have a passion for young women and discipling them. And I feel like we truly are a power team. Like, I feel like we think in sync, we play off each other. We both have different strengths and weaknesses that go really well together. And so it's been such a gift for me to have you at 7, because I feel like you are just like, I don't even know. I don't want to call you my sidekick because that's not the right word, but like my partner, my teammate. That's what I meant. Like my teammate and my partner in crime was just like, I don't know, making 7 an amazing place. And you and Steve always have such amazing ideas. Yeah, it feels like we're doing it together.
Yeah, I always enjoy that. All right, so if you can encourage anybody as we send them out after listening to this episode, is there any last thoughts you want to give to them?
I would say that God can use you no matter what season you're in. Whether you are in a season where you are thriving and you are just living out your calling and you are just feeling like things are going great, like God can use you then. But also if you're in a season of confusion and uncertainty and waiting, and maybe you're wrestling with some things, like God can still restore that season. And one of my favorite preachers just said that restore means he restores it.
Yes.
Yeah, Megan Fate Marshman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he can tell a different story about that season where you feel like, you know, you're so weak, but like his power and strength is in your weakness, and that's when he could actually use you the most.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I feel like that's the biggest thing I've learned lately.
Yeah, I love that. And I would also encourage women that start serving and invite your friends in with it. Like with you, like do it together with people, get to know the people you're serving alongside, because we're not just doing for God, like we're also being with him. So like get to know people's stories, like pray together, worship together, go after the Lord together, and watch what he does. There's this like African proverb or something that says like, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to like basically go in for it for the long haul, go together, because it's better to go together. And God made us for community. So I just encourage you to find some people that you can also serve with, and invite your friends into that with you as well, because you grow I feel like you grow in a different way with people that you're going after things like spiritually together. Like it just bonds you in a different way, and it's awesome.
Yeah. That's so good.
Do you want to pray for us?
Yeah, let's do it. God, I just thank you so much for Hannah and all the gifts that you've given her, and the passions and the calling on her life that you've given her, and that she is stepping into obedience in what you've called her to do. And God, I just pray specifically for the women that are listening to this episode right now. God, that if they're in a season of loneliness where they don't feel like they have a lot of community, or they don't feel like they have a lot of people surrounding them, that God, that you would just give them courage to continue seeking that, and that you would provide special relationships where they can serve together and be in community together and step up and show up in life together, God. And I just thank you for the beauty of relationships. And yeah, God, I pray that the women listening to this podcast, God, would just experience that, and that you would provide that for them. And God, thank you that you use our gifts to impact other people, and thank you that you make us stronger together as well. Amen.
I'm forever grateful you listened to today's episode. It would bless my socks off if you subscribed and continued to listen along. By sharing this podcast, it allows for others to hear the good news that they can also experience the freedom that God has for them. Freedom is here for the taking. And I'd love to hear what you think and what God is doing in your life. So shoot me a DM or email, and I'd love to chat and pray with you. If you have time, leave a review and follow us over on Instagram. I'll talk to you soon. Keep seeking God to see his glory in your story.